Welcome to the Wrecking Yard. I'm Jerry Wayne Longmire, and y'all are presumably still y'all. Everybody's welcome here in the Church of Internal Combustion. We just ask that you show up with an open heart. Guys, I got one of my good buddies, country music troubadour, Jeff Canada, here with me in the studio today. We're going to chop it up and talk a little bit. Before we do all that, let's give a big thank you to our sponsors for bringing the Wrecking Yard to fruition today. Up first is our good buddies at Jake's Quality Repair LLC up there in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Jake's is your I screw that up every week. Jake's is your go-to family-owned semi-truck and trailer repair shop that offers roadside service calls for the trucker in need. Blowouts, call Jake's. Trailer damage, call Jake's. Driving a Volvo, call Jake's. It's still going to be a Volvo, but he can fix everything else. You need a career change, call Jake's. He also sells and services snow plows. He can have you out in these streets pushing that frozen white gold in no time. They also offer all manner of auto repair for all makes and sizes and custom hot rod work too. He does a bunch of LS swaps and stuff. Check out his Facebook page, Jake's Quality Repair LLC, for more information, or contact the man himself at 715-384-6699. Jake's Quality Repair LLC for your central Wisconsin automotive needs. Truck drivers, if you're in central Wisconsin, the only phone number you need, 715-384-6699. Also, don't forget to look at the Golden Beard Company. It's a 10-year-old global beard brand specializing in organic natural beard care products from Denmark. They make my absolute favorite mustache wax. I like it on stage because the lights don't melt it and it doesn't get too runny. Stays in place all day. I don't have it on right now because I'm just hanging out with my buddy and today's a laid back day. But they make my absolute favorite products and it's all organic. I don't like putting a bunch of chemicals and crap on my face. But you can get their products at goldenbeards.com, and they just came to Amazon, but you'll have to check what that's going to run you. Thank you, guys. All right, let's move along. Jeff Canada, how in the hell have you been?
I'm good, buddy.
Yeah, man. You making it?
I lost the beard's gone though.
Yeah, you got a bunch of it. Well, you said you were cutting it off. I thought we were going, bald.
I was going to.
I thought we were going cue ball clean.
I was actually going to do that just to piss one specific person off, but I didn't do it. I just went, this is what I went with right here.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Oh, yeah, man.
I might knock it off later. Who knows?
I cut 4 or 5 inches off mine every year, it feels like.
This was probably 8 inches, 9 inches. I mean,
it was real long. Yeah. Where you been, man? Where you headed?
Where have I been? Where am I headed? I'm not really heading anywhere right now. I got a couple shows in Tyler area next week or next couple weeks, and then all over the U.S. I got some shows up in Michigan booked, Missouri booked.
Where are you going to Michigan?
Midland, Michigan. I'm going up there to play a brewery.
Very cool, very cool.
And then so I'm going to book shows all around that, getting up there, do a whole run. I'm going to try to be gone the whole month of September and October on the road.
Nice.
That's the plan. Never come home.
That's what we just did. We booked some shows in Colorado, but I think the Denver show is going to be our brewery. We were talking one brewery is outside. I don't want to do outside show for comedy, but
yeah, that can't work very well.
It sucks. We did it during COVID, but it's freaking terrible, and nobody wants to do it again.
Yeah,
except Bert Kreischer. There's like 3 people that want to do outdoor shows. I ain't one of them. Plus, I'm fat. It's in June. I ain't trying to be about that life.
Yeah, I just booked a show in Port O'Connor. It's like a private event in Port O'Connor for a fishing tournament in June. I might die.
Where is Port O'Connor?
That's south.
Is that
south
like down
on the coast?
Lorenzo's Pass?
Yeah, past that.
Okay. That sounds familiar.
It's about 140 miles from here. So.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Splendora, Texas.
Really?
Splendora, Texas, where meth is king.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Splendora. I remember that stretch of 59 when we would drive back and forth from Kilgore to Houston all the time. Mm-hmm. Splendora is where you had to really, back in the day, you had to really watch out. Splendora and what was that other little town where they had the traffic ticket ring going on 59 there?
Well, Patton Village was pretty bad growing up, especially if you weren't white.
Splendora used to be a son of a bitch because they would get you there if they popped you. They were popping people there. People were paying the tickets, but the judge and some of the sheriff or whatever were keeping all the money, is what it turned out. The FBI got called in and busted them. It's a crazy thing.
Dude,
back
one year,
in the 80s.
This is a true story. This was probably in 98, 99, maybe 97. I can't remember. But they took all of the weed they had confiscated for like the last 10 years or something. And they, like, right in the middle of the town, they piled it all up and burned it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so everybody in the town standing around this pile of, like, just, I mean, that's how you don't have an incinerator. You're just going to burn it in the middle of the town, just burn a pile of weed.
There's one of my favorite videos. I think it's from like the mid 90s. And it was some giant apartment or warehouse that caught on fire, but apparently somebody was storing a bunch of weed in there. So the weed starts burning, and they keep interviewing the firefighters, and these firefighters are lit.
Yeah, dude.
They're off their
Yeah, none of the firefighters wearing masks or anything. They were just burning it. I was just,
yeah, we got this.
Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, they did that up in Montgomery County. They said they found basically a controlled grow in Sam Houston forest, and so they burned it.
Yeah.
And we were all just hanging out in the woods like, all right, bro. Yeah, it's nice. Do it.
You would think by now what the government would do is take all that stuff and repackage it and repurpose it and sell it.
Yeah.
That's what they should do.
I'm just so surprised they're not stealing it.
I'm sure
I mean, it's just like,
I'm sure they are.
Like, there's literally no other product on the market that you won't steal.
Yeah.
But this you're not going to steal and resell.
No, man. I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I can't buy it. Yeah, we had me and my buddy Terry Smart Jr. So I had my little construction company was up there in Willis for a while. We lived in Point Aquarius off 1097 up there. And me and Terry would go up there in the National Forest. I had a canoe, and we'd go up there in the National Forest and look for waterways and stuff to get the canoe in the water and have fun and just screw around, man. We'd go out there. He was trying to teach me how to bow hunt. I didn't know anything about bow hunting, so we'd go out there and shoot the bow and that kind of shit. And we were out there just hiking all through the woods and stuff. And he's like, dude, he's from like Woodville, Texas. Like,
Woodville.
He's one of them river people.
Mm-hmm.
So this dude can like smell a pig, and go, let's go this way. And Terry, like, I always thought it was pretty country until I met Terry Smart Jr. This dude, like, he can smell animals and track them and stuff. And so we're out there in the woods and we're screwing around, going through the National Forest. And we come up on all these 5-gallon buckets, man. It's like 65-gallon buckets. They all got little plants in them, and they got these little dome things on them. And there's a couple tents, and there's like 4-wheelers, and they're like nice new 4-wheelers. But like, dudes are living out here in the National Forest. And we're like, it's pretty crazy. Terry goes, yeah, we need to get the F out of here. I go, why? He goes, them 4-wheelers, that's cartel money. I was like, okay, bro, the cartels have come on, bro. No, man. We turn around, we start hiking out of there, and we run into a dude with a damn Chinese SKS on the trail, Mexican dude, and he doesn't speak a lot of English, but he wants us the hell out of there real quick. We're like, yeah, we're in the National Forest.
Yeah, dude.
You guys are ballsy, man.
It's crazy.
That shit blew my mind. Like, I can't even wrap. But you're living in you're living in a park growing weed, bro, with a firearm. Like, just, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if this cops show up? You going to shoot it out with them? Is that the game plan?
I don't know, man. Like,
Montgomery County cops? You don't want that smoke.
Mm-mm.
Them guys shoot everything.
Mm-mm. Especially not now that old Wesley Doolittle's been elected sheriff out there, dude. If you got a name by Wesley Doolittle and you're the sheriff, you better not mess with that guy.
No, bro.
He's a former Texas Ranger too. He's a good buddy of mine.
Really? I followed him while he was running. I was kind of following his campaign and stuff a little bit.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, there's been some crazy stuff. Conroe police shoot anything. They're crazy. Only time I seen Conroe police wouldn't shoot was, and this is weird, when I lived in Willis, I had my little construction companies run back and forth. Longmire, it was always Longmire Road too. There was like 4 tiger escapes while I lived in Conroe. Like, people own tigers out there. And one of them was this old geriatric tiger, basically. It was like missing teeth and stuff. And they had all along my road blocked off, and all the cops are standing around like, I don't know what to do. And this tiger's walking back and forth across the road. I guess his owner died. He somehow got out of his cage. He ate what was left of his owner, and I guess that wasn't enough. He went out looking for food. Or, oh no, what they said happened. This dude had a housekeeper, so this poor little Mexican lady shows up over at his house, opens the door to start cleaning the house, and there's this old tiger standing in the hallway, and she just hollers, gets in her car, and leaves. So now Tiger's out, and the Conroe police are all up and down. They had just shot this dude in April Sound. They shot this dude through the window of somebody else's house. He was standing in somebody else's kitchen. They come and shot this dude, a naked guy. So we were giving them grief, right? We're like, what? Come on, man. Shoot that tiger, dude. I gotta go to work, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Pop a cap in that tiger. I gotta no. They waited for wildlife control and all that.
Oh
crap.
Man,
we were stuck on that road for an hour, man. I had foundation, I had concrete ready to go.
Imagine walking in a house and there's just a tiger.
I'd shit myself.
Oh yeah, me too.
I wouldn't have made it back to the car because I'd have froze.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know what to do. I don't do well with big animals, man. I don't even like big dogs. I just
100%
freeze up.
Yeah,
I always tell people I treat big dogs the same way I treat cops and alcoholics. They're unpredictable, and I don't let them get by me. I just don't.
Yeah,
I don't know if a cop's good until I've talked to him for a while. But I don't. First meet, I gotta feel you out, bro.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, I support our law enforcement officers more than pretty much anything, but there are definitely some of them out there that shouldn't have badges. There's some assholes out there.
Yeah. Well, the problem is
people.
Yeah. The problem is they're people. The second problem is a job that attracts sociopaths.
Yeah.
Any kind of authority figure, anything like that, especially if you get to carry a weapon, is going to attract. They have a saying about the military: is it like 3% or 8% of people that join just want to shoot something?
Yeah.
Just put it.
I bet it's higher than that.
Yeah, I think if people were being honest on those psychic values.
I know when I joined, it was because I wanted to go fuck shit up.
I did not know you were a veteran.
I am not a veteran, but I did join.
Oh, what happened?
So there's two. Basically, what happened is I was.
Well, good on you for calling it out.
I'm definitely not a veteran.
Yeah.
So 3 months after 9/11, I was pissed.
Yeah.
So I went down and joined, and I went down to MEPS, and I joined infantry with an airborne reservation. So my plan was to go down the SF route. That was the whole plan. And then so I started working out my recruiter every morning. And then one morning, me and him.
You got the size for it too. You got them long legs. You did all that shit.
Well, I was in good shape back then, and I worked out my recruiter every day. And then we went running, and I sprained my ankle. And so I went down to MEPS, and they told me that my contract was no longer valid because I messed up my ankle. So I had to redo. So then they made me a truck driver. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever, I'll do it. And so I shipped out to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and I was there, and that same ankle that I'd sprained, it wasn't healed yet, and that my AFL ligament tore 100%.
Damn.
And so they shipped me out.
Man, mine was, I joined because all my buddies joined right out of high school. And half my buddies joined the Navy, the other half joined the Army. My Papa Lomar was Army. I grew up in a, Army house. And I signed up for the Army. I took the ASVABs, did really well. Not like super high, but did well. And was going to, had some options going in and everything, but I was always big boy. So they're like, gotta lose some weight. Right. So they had me wrapping saran wrap around myself and jogging around the neighborhood every morning, trying to cut weight really fast and all this stuff. And I cut a bunch of weight, but when it come down to, here's what I think it come down to was there wasn't anything going on then. And they were like, yeah, we're good, bro. Yeah. And so like at the end of it, they said something. I had surgery and had I had the, what's that called inside your nose? The septum. I'd had my septum removed and a piece of plastic put in there, and there's some metal and stuff at the back of my nose. I got my nose broke with a baseball bat, and so they had to do all that surgery. So I didn't tell them about that because I didn't think it was a big. I just didn't bring it up because it just, I was like, I've had appendicitis, but I forgot this face surgery.
Yeah,
that happened when I was 17, and they were like, "Yeah, well, you didn't put this on your thing, so we're gonna." And I was like, so I never got to go. All my friends left. And then I lived in A-Leaf long enough to know I didn't like getting shot at. And so when the Iraq war started, they started calling me, hey, we saw you had injury. I was like, I'm just going to see how this bartending school plays out. Y'all have fun. I'm not
I was
interested.
pissed, man. I was pissed when it first happened, but now that I look back, I'm glad it happened because had that not happened, I probably wouldn't have Brody. Who knows where I'd be? My career
Might
definitely.
not be doing music,
who knows?
man.
Or I could be using it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But life's a funny thing, man. You're just you, and you have all these things happen to you, and you have all these crossroads, and you make your choice, and
that's the story.
Where you are is where you are.
That's how you build your tapestry.
Yeah,
bro.
you can go back and
don't what if
to death, and that just kills
what
you.
ifs would drive you crazy, man.
Yeah.
I got no interest in what ifs anymore. I used to spend a lot of my time what if I done
the past and the future. I mean, so I just wrote this new song called Rain, and it's about my previous relationship with who, and
last one,
yeah, Candace,
gotcha.
and because
I was trying not to say.
Well, I don't care.
Yeah.
At this point,
she doesn't watch.
I don't care anyway. At this point, she's acting like such a child that it's comical.
That sucks.
But she's one of those people that are very much live in the past and worry about the future all the time,
but never in the present. Never can just enjoy this moment and be happy with what's going on.
No, and so and it steals your joy. Whenever you're thinking about shit that happened, 100%. And you're thinking about something that might happen, and then it might not even. Then it may not even happen, but yet you worried about it, and then it happens, and you got to worry about it again. And I just choose to live my life and like what's going on right now. Plan for the future, but don't worry about it. A buddy of mine, he was on my podcast, R.D. Floyd, and he put it the best way I've ever put it. He said, I treat the future like driving in the fog. He's like, when I'm driving in the fog, I'm making sure I'm going the right speed. I'm making sure my tires are good. I'm making sure that I'm in my lane. I'm doing everything I can do to make sure I'm all right. But I can only really worry about the headlights I see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and freak out and worry about the headlights I don't see yet. I'm not going to worry about the cars that I don't see. I'm going to worry about just that one car and get past it safely. And really, that's kind of the way. That's like the best metaphor I've ever heard about it. And that's why you have to do it, because if not, you'll go crazy. You will go crazy.
I had to literally train myself to live in the present. I had to, and it's hard work because of the business we're in.
Yep.
I tell these guys this all the time. This is a business, and your business is very much the same. Is that you put in hours and hours and hours of work that you often don't see any results for, and you can't sit around and go, well, I put in all this work on this thing. I'm gonna wait and see if that kicks off, because about 90% of the time it does not.
Yeah.
So we have to constantly be putting all these hours of work into all these different irons in our fire, and then see which one pans out.
Yeah.
By the time, just like my book deal is panning out, we got a contract and everything with the publisher, and it's real. We're writing this book.
Sweet.
But I have so many other things going that I'm having to find time to work on that, because I'm working on all these irons for next year, for 2026 and 2027. But I can't sit around and panic about it. I used to sit there and panic about it, man. Just literally work myself up in anxiety. What if, same way people are doing with the politics right now. Oh, this is going to tariffs and everything. And I know it all seems like doom and gloom. None of it seems good, but
it does to some people. But to some people, it seems great. And that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Your perspective is your perspective.
Yeah, but those people 4 years ago had the same reaction to everything that was going on there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's worried about something that, if we're going to be realistic and honest with ourselves about, you don't have any control over. You don't have. There ain't crap you can do. Getting on Facebook and ranting and raving at people and losing friends and losing family is not going to. And yelling at people that make videos you don't like, it's not going to get you. It's not going to change a damn thing about your life.
Not only that, and think about this. I want everybody to really, really think about this. Your life can be over like this.
Yeah.
Like this. And, of course, globally it could happen. We could start a nuclear war. Who knows? An asteroid. I mean, we're a rock floating through space. Another rock could collide with us pretty easily. And in this whole thing, you know what I mean? Who knows? Kim Jong-un could bomb the moon. Who knows? Or the sun. Who knows what'll happen? But you could also have a heart attack, or even worse. Like, you're spending all your time worrying about this and worrying about that. Your kid could die tomorrow. Think about that. As a father,
it happens
as a father, your kid could die tomorrow, and you're spending all of this time worried about what might happen. and then you're losing valuable time spending time with your kid that might die tomorrow,
The-
or your wife, or your girlfriend, or doing something that you enjoy. The more time you bitch and moan and complain about something that may or may not happen or that's not happening, you're losing your time right now to enjoy what is happening.
You said something on Facebook the other day. I saw it on Facebook. You may have put it in a couple places, but you said something about how you've never gone on anybody's video and said anything. And like, I don't waste energy on that either. And I think maybe I did a few times when I was younger, like 19 or 20, messing around on the internet, just trying to figure out how to be a grown up. But here's what we were talking about doom scroll. You're saying you don't do. So here's the one time I doom scroll is when I get on the treadmill at the gym. I set up TikTok because I don't like, because everything else is the news and I can't do too much of that crap. So I set up TikTok, and that's when I just go through TikTok videos, send the ones I like to my wife or whatever. But if it's something I don't like, 2 seconds in, I'm just on to the next video. I don't waste any energy telling this person I don't like what they did.
Right.
Or
like, I literally had somebody come on my YouTube the other day and say, "You're not the best." I'm like, okay, cool.
At what?
Right. Well, yeah. It just, but the funny thing is, anytime, most of the time, when you go look at those people's profile, or those people think they don't even have a profile picture, they post very little. So their entire life is going and tearing down somebody else and what they're doing.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, I was like, I only take criticism, even constructive criticism, from people who are doing things I'm interested in or things I'm in. Like, I would take advice or criticism from you because you're out there.
Right.
Even though we're in different
saying,
music and comedy, it's still the same. We're out there pushing our brand, trying to build something of our own, working for ourselves. I would listen to you. I got a buddy owns a construction company. I take advice from him because the guy's got out there doing it every day. You know what I mean? Like, I've got other video creators I know, commit Slade Ham. I take advice from Slade Ham because we're kind of chasing the same goal, and he does things that are different than me, and I'm always interested in his approach to things. He has a very Zen Buddha.
Well, you find those people that you respect. You find those people that you respect, and those people you respect. I'm one of those guys. I listen to everybody, no matter what, no matter who you are. I'll listen to you, and I'll let it go in my brain. I'll let it wall around a little bit. And I keep what I want to keep, and I throw away what I want to throw away, regardless of who you are. But it also depends on how you approach somebody with it. If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I want your opinion on this," the very first thing I always ask, "Okay, you sure you want my opinion?"
Yeah.
Before I even say it, are you sure? And they're like, "Let me have it," and then I'm going to give them an honest assessment of what I think they're doing. But I rarely will say something if not asked.
Yeah.
Unless it's somebody that I really know, or I might go. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, man, I know you didn't ask for this, but this is my." So I do a lot on TikTok. I'll do a lot of TikTok lives, and I have a lot of songwriters on there. And so somebody will play a song, and I'm like, "Oh, that's really good." And then sometimes I'm like, "Hey, you might want to work on your dynamics on this. You may want to pull off the guitar here while you're singing, and that way, So just like industry stuff.
Yeah.
But and sometimes it's met with cool, and sometimes it's met with, yeah.
Get wrecked.
But it's always a respectful way. I'm not just going to go onto somebody's video and just be like, and just talk shit to them. I mean, it makes no sense to me why you would do that.
Yeah, every once in a while, here's some little weird thing I'll do. Billy D. Washington?
Yeah,
Okay, so Billy D. He posted some video, and it was a funny clip, but the clip wasn't well produced for TikTok. There's certain parameters you want to do, and close up, all that kind of stuff, and it just wasn't set up for TikTok, and it didn't do well. It didn't get very many views. So what I did is I just downloaded his video, and I took it and re-edited it and set it up for TikTok, and I sent it to him, and I go, "Hey, man, I didn't feel like that clip you put out got near the views it should have got. Will you post it like this and just see how it runs? Post it like this on this and this profile, this time of day, that kind of stuff." And he was like, "All right." He went for it, and video took got 28, 30,000 views, more than what he was getting on it. And I was like, man. And it wasn't very long after that, but I didn't say anything. I didn't go like, "This is how you should be doing all your videos." But right after that, he hired somebody to start editing all his videos and doing all his stuff, and his videos started getting more views and stuff. And I was like, "Oh yeah!" So to me, that's the way Like, I'll just show you how I would do it, and then if you're not into it, you're not into it. But just give it a shot.
I tell you, two of my pet peeves on social media, and especially in my last relationship,
Just two,
is
really?
all. Well, I have plenty, but why is it socially acceptable for people to say, "When are you going to marry that girl?"
Oh yeah,
like it's all the time. I mean, it would once a week somebody would say, "When are you going to marry that girl? When are you going to marry that girl? When are you going to marry that girl?" And I'm like, in the back of my mind, being like, because she hasn't earned me asking that question yet. But I'm not going to say that. No. But it's like, in what world are you going to say, "Hey, when are you going to divorce that girl?"
Yeah.
Are you going to say that? You're not going to say that.
I did unfortunately say that to somebody one time. But I did, worst mistake I've ever made in my life. If you really want to hurt a friendship, one of my close friends was going through some shit with a gal, and they've been up and down and up and down, and it just seemed to me like she was making his life miserable for years. And it got real bad, and cops got called and stuff like that. Nobody hit anybody, but it got real bad one night. And he had to go to a facility, and I talked to him afterwards, and I spent 2 hours trying to convince him to divorce her and get the hell away from her. A year later, they're back together, happy. They've worked out all the problems, but me and my buddy, we're not as close as we once were. And I was like, I should have just kept my mouth shut. Should have just said, you know what? I love you, bro. I'm sorry you're going through this.
Well, that's what happened in this last situation. I had plenty of my friends that never said a word to me. And then after we break up, they're like, "Dude, I hated her. Like, golly."
I didn't feel that way about her. I always got along with her, but I didn't know her that closely. But there were some things I saw. The constant. I felt like she tore you down in public a lot around your friends, and I didn't really care for that. And everybody has different methods, but it wasn't my play, because like maybe that's the way they play. Maybe that's their,
you don't ever know.
Everybody has their own dynamic. I know a couple that have been happily married for 30 years, and they say some of the worst shit to each other, anybody, but that's their dynamic, and it works for them. When I first met them, it was off-putting, but now I just know it's what works. But I always felt like it was like every time somebody was giving you congratulations or telling you, and Jeff has done a lot. Like, and we're gonna get into it a little bit, man. He's got, what is the album with monsters on it? What's it? Is that Peaks and Valleys?
Wishing Well.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. It's an album I will listen to front to back. I listen to everything on it, and it's one of my favorite Dark Road on a Dark Night albums. Jeff is a tremendous artist, tremendous singer. But we would be sitting in a group, and me or Slade would say something like, "Hey, just saw this and this and this," and then she would make some snide sort of like why? Where was it? Is it about you feeling insecure? And it's what it seemed like. It always came off as it was like she was feeling insecure or something in the situation, like she wasn't bringing anything to the table, or people get in their head with all kind of weird stuff about that. And that was my only thing. That was like a flag for me every time it happened. I was like,
yeah, she would do the same thing on Facebook. She would make a post like, I really love this guy, even with all his flaws, or those kind of things. And it didn't really bother me too much. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't want to talk about it too much because it's over and it is. But she was never in that relationship. She had one foot in, one foot out the entire time. And she would say things that let me know that the whole time. And that's the reason I never gave her the ring. And so it's fine. It's over now. And the dude, a month later, she's already with somebody else and taking camping trips with her daughter and all that stuff. And so, she wanted to work on herself, and I guess that's how she's going to work on herself, is already with somebody else. And listen, I'm not. I was talking to my ex-wife about this yesterday, and it's like, I'm not heartbroken we're not together, and I'm not even mad that she's with somebody else. I don't care. Like, that's. I hope she's making him a little less miserable than she made me. But I am really disappointed in the way that she's acting. And the comments on social media and some of the stuff she's posting.
Well, it's just, if it's over, it's over.
Yeah, it's childish.
Go on with your thing. A lot of people go through life like that, though. 1 foot in, 1 foot out of everything they do.
Yep.
And then I have a friend that has done that with business, with entertainment, with everything. And then he's the most bitter person. He sits around and complains about everything that happened. I was like, you've never put it all on the line, though. You're not doing what I'm doing. You're not trying to live on your earnings. You're not trying to, like what you're doing. You're not, you're not doing the gamble. You don't get to complain about things going badly because you kept your job the whole time. You're not gambling. You're
Yeah,
not throwing it out there. Great. And let me also close that with saying
they're probably
that
smarter than we are.
yeah, it's really smart to keep your job, but it's not the same. You haven't lived the same experience.
No.
I get frustrated with the bitterness out of people like that. Like you, what
Yeah.
are you mad
I
about?
see it
You
all
didn't
the time.
gamble
I
anything.
see people all the time that have like really good paying day jobs and they just do music on the weekends and they really want to make music a career, but the problem with music, I'm sure it's the same with comedy, but the problem with music is you it's not the same with comedy because music you can make money playing music, right? You can go out. I did it for years, but I'm
Hmm.
playing 4 hour shows. I'm playing somebody else's song. I'm not doing it as an artist
But you
myself,
can make a good living
but you
doing
can make
that.
a good living. I'm six
Yeah,
figures
you were
without,
making money.
yeah,
Yeah, I
without.
remember
It's whenever you transition to doing your own
original
stuff,
stuff.
and you're trying and you're trying to make everything happen with that paycheck from that gig. Let's say $500. You made $500. So you take that $500. Well, you got to pay your bills with it because you don't. That's your job.
Hmm.
But you also have to create content with it, record
Buy
songs.
ads and
Yeah, all
sell tickets and
everything else. Hotel rooms and gas and travel and all those
broke
things.
down trucks.
100%. And that's the part that people that have a day job that's the part they'll never understand is it's because they have that day job to pay their bills. Their bills are taken care of. So they can go make that $500 and they have $500 put right back into this business.
Yeah.
They have $500. They could take 100% of what they just made and put it right back into what they got
Oh,
going on.
it happens in comedy. You'll see these guys like somebody will offer some gig in Abilene, Texas. It pays like $500. I'm like, well, I ain't driving to Abilene, Texas for $500 and getting a hotel room and do. Yeah, at the end of that, I walk away with $50.
I
Unless I
just did
sell
it for
some merch.
150.
You're crazy, but you'll have these comics who have a day job and they're like, oh, I'll go do it for 300. They'll undercut you to go get that
Oh yeah, yeah.
because they're not getting those experiences. But comedy, you can look, you can write for other people, you can write copy, you can do a lot of things with comedy where you can go make a good living. But which is kind of like playing cover music for somebody
Right.
else.
Yeah.
But you pretty much start at the point of having to write your own stuff right off the bat. Like you have to start from that to begin with. What what was your when did you first get into music? Like playing?
I started playing probably really seriously on guitar when I was probably 13 or 14. Like
Okay.
very seriously, like, okay, I want to do this. Um, I didn't start singing until high school. I was in a musical called Into the Woods. I was in theater. I was a theater
I know Into
kid.
the Woods. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I was the baker on Into the Woods and it was a musical.
That's
And
crazy.
so I had to learn I did this like 2 weeks because I wasn't part of the cast, and then the baker didn't pass his report card or something, so I got thrown the role for like 2 weeks. So I had to learn 3 hours of music and choreography and everything, lines and everything, and had a great time. And then that's about the time I started really like, oh man, I can sing, you know.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is like I really don't feel like I found my voice until 2018. I think everything before 2018 was just noise. It was just, I mean, obviously it was experience getting to be the performer that I am now, but I didn't really find my voice, like really find like,
Dial yourself
yeah, like
in.
how my tone and my timbre and, you know,
Did you play music professionally right out of high school?
no. I went straight into the oil field and to management in the oil field. I worked for NOV for 10 years. So in 2006, I graduated in 1997. In 2006, uh, I quit my job.
She graduated a year after me. I graduated in '96.
Yeah. And quit my job and started playing music full time. My wife at the time, not I, her loans and stuff, but she had just got out of nursing school. And she basically was like, hey, you've been kind of helping me out this whole time getting my nursing. I have a job now. You need to go do this music thing. And so I remember when I first started, I was like, man, if I could make $500 a week, I'll be good. Just $500. That's all I need to
That's
make.
all it took back then, though.
Yeah. And so I started a cover band called the Elroys. And in Houston, we were pretty big on the cover circuit. We were making pretty good money, and everything was good until 2018. In 2018, just everything went to shit. You know,
What, like what?
just life, man. Like, you know, uh, my so I had taken on a bar ownership role, a 10% bar ownership role, and the operating partner, meaning I was the GM, with a guy who I already knew was not going to make it. He had liver disease, and my goal was to go in there because I was done with music. I was so burnt out because I've been playing 300 shows a year for since 2006, and this was 2018, so however long that is, 12 years. And my goal was to go in and take over this, like, get this bar to where he passes away, and then buy 51% of it and give his son 49% of it, and then me. That was going to be my kind of my deal. Get away from music and just walk away, And then in May of 2018, my mom got sick with cancer, and like 16 or 18 days. It was actually April 16th. She passed away. We put her in hospice on Mother's Day, so it was the day after Mother's Day she passed away. And so that same time, and then he got out of the hospital, and he's got, I don't know if you've ever been around anybody with liver disease, but it's like dementia, because
my mom died of.
The ammonia builds up in their brain, and then they got to get it drained, and that's what they told me. I was actually medical power of attorney over this guy because I would go to the doctor's appointments with him, and
they cause it psychosis, and
and that's
and all kind of stuff.
And he ended up, so basically, my mom passed away, and then he was stealing money out of the account. He was going to the account and buying cars and houses, and like, I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars out of the account. We started bouncing checks, and so I ended up getting my investment back and got out of that. Luckily, I got out of that business without losing any money. And then my mom, like I said, my mom passed away. He ended up dying like maybe 2 weeks after my mom passed away, which I don't wish ill on anybody, but I wish he would have passed away a month sooner, because my whole my life would be different right now. I'd have my own place that's making money that I could hire somebody to run, and I could be out doing this while getting mailbox money. But it didn't work out, and that's okay. It is what it is. And it was just and then towards the end of the year, I started cheating on my wife with this 23-year-old gal that I met at that bar. And 2019, I left my wife, and then that girl, like, just demolished me, like, just.
That's 23-year-olds will do.
Yep. And that was 2019, right? And then 2020 happened, and it was like COVID, man. So you're dealing with all of these things that are going on, and then COVID happens, and it's like, can I just catch a break? Like, can I just catch any kind of a break? But I was also very much the victim mentality then. I was very much waiting on something to happen instead of making it happen.
To me,
exactly.
So I know you started writing original music because of your mom. Your mom.
Well, I had written in my early 20s, and I had a little stint. I was in a band called Jezebel's Tree, and I was the main songwriter singer. And we had opened up for Blue October and Nothing More, and I played a show with Dishwalla, and some stuff like that. What's the guy from not Toadies, but the other band he had, Burden Brothers?
Yeah,
I opened up for them. I had a little stint in the early 2000s. First time I opened for Corey Morrow and Pat Green was early 2000s. And then
first time I opened for Corey Morrow was early 2000s.
I'm gonna go see him tomorrow night.
Woo, buddy. Sidecar Pub on
That's where I
Highway
was.
6. That's an experience I will never forget in my
He was
life,
a different Corey back then.
Yeah, everybody was a different somebody back then. Me too.
Not Pat.
My nostrils was about this big around.
I'm pretty sure Pat's the same person.
Really?
I don't know if he's still doing cocaine, but he definitely still gets drunk.
So I almost got asked. I was going to go open for him last weekend, and I had some other stuff going on, and it all fell through up at John Clay Wolf's place.
Yeah, I just played a show with him
up there. And I was like, man, that'd be cool. I hadn't seen him, but he wouldn't even remember me, but I hadn't seen him. I'm just, this is a drunk fat comic that opened for you one time, years ago at Sidecar Pub. But Corey, that was that was a night and a half. And every once in a while I see him, like, somebody will interview him or talk to him now, like, that is not the dude. That ain't the dude I met. The dude I met from Memorial High School was crazy as shit,
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Last year he made a post, and he was wearing my shirt, had a Jeff Canada shirt on.
That's awesome,
and it said Jeff Canada's a hoss.
I love it. You do that all the time. You promote other artists, and I just think that's so important. I tried to do it as well. I promote you on my site. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you come over here. He's one of my favorite songwriters, especially out of Texas.
Thanks, buddy.
But you do that so often for other people. Like you put such an effort into it.
I don't do it as much as I used to, and I'm gonna be honest with you why, I need to change this. I'm actually about to start doing the artist spotlights again.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start doing the Saturday spot. I'm gonna call them Saturday spotlights. I kind of got away from it because, and I'm sure this is the same in comedy. Music is a very cutthroat business, and you will put your name out there on somebody, and then they will screw you over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I could go down the list of artists that have done that to me. And, and it's upsetting. And I'll give you a prime example. During COVID, I started doing these live streams, right? We're doing, me and Philip, my best friend Philip, we're doing these live streams, and we go out and we're doing these like, we got multi-camera angles, and we're doing it like the right way, And it got to the point where we started getting sponsored for those live streams. And Philip had a really good job during COVID. So he was like, dude, you just take the money. I'm just doing it. It's just fun for me. So I got to the point where I was making a little bit of money off these sponsorships, and then all the Venmo tips and stuff I were playing. So, I got the sponsorships alone were actually doing really well for me. So I started reaching out to other musicians, being like, hey, we're doing this like 3 days a week. You want to hop on one, and you get half of anything. I'll give you half of anything that the tips make. You get half of that. And some of them I was even like, you can have all of it, depends on who it was. Dude, every single musician that I did that for in 2020, none of them talked to me today. None of them. Really? Not a single one of them. One of them got upset at me because she's super liberal, and she got mad at me because in 2020, I made it, whenever they opened things back up, I made a post on Facebook about how it's really good to see crowds back out again. Mm-hmm. She lost her mind.
Yeah, people were so
and this is the same girl that was also going out and jumping on open mics.
Yeah.
And singing songs during COVID with no mask on, but yet wants to come at me. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah, we had a lot of preachy comics too.
Yeah. Her name is Josie, by the way.
Tell everybody they need to stay indoors, and then you'd see, like, where are you catching a flight for?
Yeah.
You're going to do a show somewhere.
Yeah, it's insane. So, people, most people are very, what has they done for me lately kind of people. Most people.
Yeah, I think most people operate on transactional.
Yeah. I'm not that way. I'm not that way at all. Like me, I can go 2 years without talking to somebody, and they call me, and we pick up right where we left off. I don't look at it like, oh, this guy never reaches out anymore. This guy doesn't do this. I don't look at it that way. I live my life, and those that cross my path, we have a good time. I don't think about it past that. But, that, and there's also like this perceived, like I have a certain level of perceived success. So you have a lot of these musicians that think they can get something from me.
Oh,
so they're super cool to you. They're super cool to you. And then next thing you know, you have them open up for you at Do-Si-Do, which is one of the most prestigious rooms you can play in Texas. You have them open up for you in front of 400 people. And then they try to do it again, and you don't have anything for them, or try to do it again, you don't have anything for them. And then they just go away.
You don't hear them.
Yeah, you don't. They just go. They never reach out and offer you anything. There's one specific Texas artist who actually just wrote a song about I'm releasing on May 30th called High Horse. I sent that to you with the piano and everything.
Yeah. Is that one kind of that Tractors vibe to it?
Yeah. That guy, he really did some shady shit behind the scenes, and so it makes it hard to put it out there. Hey, y'all check this person out, and then they screw you over, because what happens is whenever I put that out, like Trent Cowie, right? Trent Cowie is one of my best friends in the scene, right? I love the kid. But if I say, hey, everybody go check out Trent Cowie, and everybody starts going, all my fans start going to listen to Trent Cowie, and then me and Trent Cowie get in a fucking fight, right? And then I have all these videos where I'm wearing a Trent Cowie hat, and I have, it's just stuff like that. You're giving your support to somebody, and I'm not saying Trent's like that. I'm just using him as an example. Yeah. It just sucks, because then every time that video pops up on your memories, and you got to see yourself wearing that.
Well,
hat.
Then you get people in the comments with all their opinions on it. And everything.
And then they're tagging you and stuff. And
one of my guilty kinks is I like following redneck rapper drama. And there's so much of it going on.
So much
with
drama.
Adam Calhoun and Upchurch and those guys.
Yeah.
And I don't really like any of them. But I like to follow their little. They have the girliest fights. It's the funniest stuff. Like, I'm gonna have a rap battle about you, and they talk about shooting each other. Nobody ever fights. Nobody ever gets in a. Nobody ever Tupac's anybody.
Right. Until we have a Las Vegas strip shooting between two rednecks, I don't want to hear about it.
I want to see Adam Calhoun catch a bullet. Not a fatality bullet, just like in the leg or something.
In the hand.
But I want somebody drunk get shot. I keep following this stuff. But these guys and their fans are the worst about attacking each other. I made a dig at one of them in a truck astrology video. Oh, he had some Upchurch. What is it? Creek Water Boys or whatever the shit is. Creek Boys or something.
No clue.
It's whatever his little hood slang is. He's got his little sticker on his truck, and I was like, tell me you're not a fan of Adam Calhoun without telling me. And all these people came out, damn, Adam Calhoun's catching strays. I'm like, no, I wasn't a stray, bro. Everybody knows Upchurch hates him. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, they're always at each other's throat. This song is hands down me being a petty little bitch. Like, there's no, like that High Horse song, that is the ultimate Jeff Canada being petty.
Yeah.
But guess what, man? I'm a fucking songwriter, and I can do that. If I want to be petty, now I'm not petty in real life. I don't do petty stuff. I'm not going to be petty on social media, and I'm not. Matter of fact, even this guy, I've publicly apologized on the podcast for talking shit about him, and I've made atonement for me being petty with it. But this song is definitely a petty song.
Bro, I have a joke, and I'll never tell anybody who the dude is, but I wrote the joke just so I could use the guy's name. And I use his name every time in the joke. And it's like, it was just my way. The guy was such a piece of shit. And I was like, every time I tell that joke, I grin and people laugh and I make fun of his name and I go on with my life. And he don't watch my shit. I don't care anyways, even if he did. But it makes me laugh every time I do that.
Well, what's funny about this kid, he's like a hobbit, dude. He's little, he's a little short dude. The other day I was at the Montgomery County Fair, and I haven't talked to him or seen him, and really I don't even think about him. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Like, he's not even on my radar anymore. I don't give a shit. But I'm staying in a group of about 10 musicians, and we're all talking, cutting up, and having a good time. And I see him walking our way, and I was like, I wonder what he's gonna do. He literally walks all the way, he takes a separate route to get where he's going,
just to get away from me.
He didn't want to come up. And then later on that night, I saw him pushing the speaker out. It fell over and stuff, and I'm just giggling. I get petty little amusements. There's this one artist in town that was going to help me develop as an artist, kind of thing, and we paid her a lot of money, a substantial sum of money. And then she didn't do anything she was supposed to do. Right?
Oh yeah, I know who this is.
Okay, well she was recently just on The Voice, and the audition was so bad. And I wish her the best. I really do. I don't hold any ill feelings. I wish, but deep down inside, I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, this is great.
I'm gonna eat a gummy and watch this video.
This is great
3 times.
It's that kind of petty stuff. I can be a little petty. I can be a little petty.
Oh yeah, I think we all got that. If you're an artist, you got that in you.
Definitely one of my flaws, being a little petty.
We always talk about cars here on the show. I had you send me your first truck, which was an 88 Dodge Ram. You said it was 318?
Yeah, 318, long wheelbase.
Oh, it's a perfect truck.
Had buckshots. We're redneck. It was 2-wheel drive, not 4-wheel drive. I had buckshots on the rear, slicks on the front.
Heck yeah.
It was my stepdad's truck.
That's the Montgomery County way right there.
Yeah, and then it was so bad because the buckshots, they're not radial, and the front ones are. So all the time you're driving, it's just swaying.
Yeah.
And then it had some engine issues. If you were idle, you couldn't go 20 miles an hour. If you're going 20 miles an hour, it would just lope on you. It got about...
that was their early fuel injection, too.
Got about 5 or 6 miles a gallon, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe 7. It was terrible.
Electrical problems?
No, there wasn't a lot of electronics on it. At the time, I was working at Bowen Tools, right here on Irvington... Between Tidwell and Irvington. Yeah. I think it's Triple S Steel.
That's where I used to buy my cocaine.
Yeah. I think it's Triple S Steel now.
Yeah, it is Triple S Steel.
it was Bow and Tools back then. I was driving from Splendor every day, so it was like a 50-minute drive every day and one way. And
Well,
I was spending so much money on gas.
I bet.
So I finally ended up selling it to a guy that works there, and he drove it for like another 5 years or something like that.
You see what those first gen Dodges go for now?
No clue.
I mean, 20, 30 grand.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And then I bought an 87 Honda Accord from my aunt. It was my cousin's car. It was the one that had the flip up tail lights.
Oh, yeah. I had the 86. So
biggest piece of shit I've ever owned in my life.
Really? Mine was unstoppable.
Well, he had like a sound system put in and stuff, so it was blowing alternators every month.
Oh, okay.
It was just the biggest piece of crap, and I drove it for a while, and then I traded that in on a Chevy S10 pickup, which was my first like legit new car. But it was a new Chevy S10 manual transmission, 5-speed, roll up windows, single cab. Yeah, I paid it off in I literally paid off like 6 months, 6 or 7 months.
Is that what you're doing music, or are you still working?
No, I was still working there, and I paid it off like that. And man, that thing was a cool little truck. Got really good gas mileage
as hell.
And then I don't remember what happened after that. Oh, I do. I traded that in on an 88 Jeep Wrangler that I ragged out. I mean, it was brand new. And I ragged this. I mean, we were in the woods every weekend mudding. By the time that thing got repoed, this is a whole funny story. So I was 20 years old, right? 20, 21.
It was an 88 Wrangler?
98. Sorry, 98 Wrangler. It was one, it was before they came up with the 4-door.
Yeah.
This thing was in such bad shape. It had no second gear, had no reverse. So I would have to like bounce it off a curb if I pulled into somewhere to push to back it up, and then I would have to skip from first to third because the second gear was non-existent just because there was so much water in the trans. I mean, it was so bad. Yeah. Anyway, so when I started dating Brooke, who's my second ex-wife, when I started dating Brooke, I just left it at her apartment complex. Just left it there, walked off, went down and paid cash for like a Ford Explorer or something. Anyway, they ended up getting repoed. That was when I was 20, maybe 21. So you're talking 2000, 2001, 2002. 2017, the day before my birthday, I wake up to all of my assets seized. Me negative $41,000 in every account that I had. And I'm like, immediately start like, what the hell's going on, right? Come to find out, that Jeep, they sold it. They took me to court. I was never notified. They did an injunction on me, and they were able to do that. And so I had to basically call them up, reach a settlement. I ended up paying like $12,000, almost 20 years later
to get away.
And I got a lawyer and everything to try to do this. And yeah, it was terrible. So anybody that tells you that, yeah, it falls off your credit in 7 years, but that does not mean that you're not financially responsible for it.
Yeah, it depends on how they do. Yeah,
they will come after you.
Yeah, I've only ever had one repossession. I had a Ford truck repossessed, but it's from one of those tote the note lot type things. And when they come out to repossess it, I hit it. And I went back and forth with the guy for like a week. And I was like, no, I said, the transmission's gone out on it again. You guys didn't help me the first time the transmission went out. And now you're telling me you're going to sue me for breach of contract. That's what they're going to sue me for breach of contract. I ain't proud of this.
I'm not proud of it either.
No, I'm not proud of what I'm about to tell you. But they come out. So I finally call a guy. I go, fine. I was like, but you're going to get rid of that breach of contract crap, because I've already paid you more than this truck is worth. And I know how you lots work. Let's just reach an agreement where you come get your truck back. You can have your truck. It's in great shape, except transmission's out, but interior, everything I kept that truck spotless. So he said he agrees that. He says, yeah, he comes out. Then he calls me later that night, tells me what a SOB I am, acts like he's just now hearing about the transmission for the first time, tells me he's going to sue me for breach of contract, all this stuff. So I borrowed my neighbor's car, And I drive over to the Tote the Note lot, and lo and behold, his tire, he had a bunch of bad tires the next morning. I mean, probably a good $4,000 or $5,000 worth of tires he had to replace the next day. And this, it's before we had all the cameras and all that good stuff. And so I just went back home. Of course, he called me the next day. I know it was you. Let's go over here. I was like, you don't want to tell me you're going to sue me for breach of contract. You threatening a man. Maybe you shouldn't just be calling people threatening them. How do I know you didn't call somebody else and threaten them and they come and got you? I said, but either way, tires are expensive. You tell me how long you want to keep this going. And he hung up on me, but I never heard another word. They never filed suit. They never did anything.
Sometimes you got to take shit in your own hands, man. I remember one time I played a bar. This was probably 2007, 2008. It was a full band show. And we just got finished, and I still had my telly, on my. So I was still holding my telly, and the manager comes up to me, or the owner comes up to me and is like, gives me my check. And I open my check up, and it's half of what we agreed upon. And so I was like, hey, and he turned. He's like, what's? I said, this isn't what we agreed upon. He's like, yeah. He's like, man, not enough people showed up tonight. Y'all were supposed to bring more people. And so I immediately get hot, right? Like now it's like I'm hot. Luckily, I don't have this temper anymore. I'm so glad that I don't. And I said, and I negotiated with him for 10, 15 minutes, and ended up being that's it. Dude, I ended up taking my guitar off my head. I grabbed it by the neck, and I just slammed it as hard as I could into a flat screen TV. Again, this is 2007, 2008. This is back when those flat screen TVs were expensive.
Like $600, $700.
No, you're talking $2,000, $3,000.
Really?
And I was like, fine, like I may not get my money, but you're gonna pay money no matter what.
You're gonna spend that money.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to be that way, man, to teach somebody a lesson.
Bro,
and I hate it. I don't want to be that way.
Story on story of us having to go after comedy promoters.
I hear it's really bad.
It used to be a lot. Nowadays, everybody complains about the internet and social media, but one of the things that I love in the industry of social media now is it has made the industry a very small place.
It's an equalizer.
You can reach out and touch somebody now, and you can touch all their friends. You can get a whole. I've only had one guy post-COVID screw me around on money, and within 30 to 45 minutes of me making one post, we got things sewed up because people come for him, so from every direction, because this industry does not tolerate those type of people anymore. It ain't like the 60s where you can hang an artist out a window, and
unfortunately the music industry still does,
I hope y'all's world gets smaller too.
Well, I hope so too. But the thing is, there's a lot more demand.
But you have to deal with a lot more bar owners, and I don't deal with a lot of bar owners anymore. And they are some of the worst ones about it.
But there's a lot more demand for live music than there is comedy.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's a lot more musicians than there is comedy.
Yeah.
There's a lot more places to play music than there is to do comedy. I'm not shitting on comedy.
No.
Comedy is my number one favorite art form. Like we've talked about comedians for hours. Like I love stand up. I just can't do it. I don't want to put in the work to do it.
Yeah.
Let's say that. No, I can't do it. I can do it. I just don't. I don't want to do it. But it happens. I mean, every week there's some issue that pops up. I mean, I just had an issue. I've been playing this place called the Loco Coyote in Glen Rose, Texas, since COVID. And it's a cheap show, but the guy was always cool as shit to me. His name was Randall. He was always cool with me. He gave me one show a month up there. I'd play for only $300 for 3 hours, which is way cheaper than what I normally play for. But I always did like $200, $250 in tips. And it was one of those rooms where people would come out to see me play, and it was a fun show. So it was worth it to me. Yeah. It was like
gigs can be good for lots of different
soul
reasons.
Feeding gig. Well, this place just got sold, right? And so the new owners, I sat down and had a meeting with them, and they loved me. I'm one of their favorite acts. I'm one of the staff's favorite acts, and just like, we want to book you. And I said, okay, well, here's the deal. Like, for the first few months, I'm willing to play for the 300, but after like March or April, we've got to jump up to my normal rate. And she's like, okay, that's fine. Thanks for working with us, blah, blah, blah. And she also was talking about booking bands. I was like, whatever you do, don't go to an outside booker. Find someone in-house. If you need help training them, I will help you train them. And if you need help finding people, I will help you find them. I'm not booking your calendar, but I will help you get the contacts to book. Okay, that sounds good. The very next day, I get a text message from a friend, an acquaintance, and he says, hey, I'm taking over the booking for Loco Coyote. I just met with these people. And immediately I knew that things were going to get messed up because I've been in this industry a long time, and this is not a shot at him.
No.
It's not a shot at her. I just know basically what she was doing is she's trying to offload this responsibility because it doesn't mean that much to her. That's usually why they do that. Okay. Sure enough, I'm supposed to be there May 10th. And they posted a post the other day and it said, hey, here's our thing. And my name wasn't on there May 10th. So I sent her a text. I was like, hey, I'm supposed to be there May 10th. And then I text the guy that's booking now, said I'm supposed to be there May 10th. He's like, well, she never gave me the calendar. She admitted she never gave him the calendar, but she didn't say I'll bump that other guy off and give you the show. And then, I had another show booked there in July. And I basically said, just delete it all. And, she said, okay. She's like, sorry, we're trying to get everything together, but I don't have time to deal with that amateur shit.
Yeah.
And so I took it off the calendar, and the more I thought about it, the more mad I got. So I finally made a Facebook post about it. And then she saw it. She sent me a text. That's just not cool tagging us. But basically I said, anybody that was planning on coming out to local Coyote May 10th, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah.
And then somebody else made a comment, and then I said, I'm not going back. And she screenshotted it and sent me a text.
Get mad. I'm allowed to tell my fans whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you I get frustrated with that too. And I've done that to a couple venues where I publicly shamed them, and I don't feel bad about it at all. I'll use my platform. If I think you're doing crap on the side, if I think you're doing crap towards artists and I don't like it, I'm going to say something about it.
100%, man. And this is what we have to remember, right? This is what I have to remind myself of all times. And I'm pulling this statistic straight out of my ass. But 95% of people in the entertainment industry, in the whole food chain, meaning bar owners, venue owners, bookers, comedians, musicians, guitar players, artists, 95% of them are total just like clueless dipshits, right? Because they're in it for their thing and their thing only. You're in it for your art. And we're all left brains. So we got a little sensitivity issues, and we got these. We're all, and I don't know about comedy, but I know a lot of us musicians, we had fucked up childhoods, and I'm pretty sure comedy is the same way. And that's how you end up being how you are. And so it's not like a typical business, right? It's not like a typical. And so, and most bar owners, they made their lick in oil or real estate or something, and they went to that bar every week, so they end up buying it or whatever. Yeah, they don't have a clue what they're doing. And but it's just, there's so many of those people, so you're just going to have these issues all the time, and you just got to navigate them. There's no way to not have them.
I'm dealing with one particular club we're trying to set up dates with right now, and the club owner's a comic, and that's the worst because he's more focused on what he's doing and his career. And I get it. You should be as a comic, but they make terrible bookers and club owners.
Yeah, same thing with, the funny thing to me is when I'll see a musician that is constantly like pissed off about pay and people that cut. Like, one of the big things in the music world is undercutters, and people complain about it all the time. And my stance is if your product is good enough, no one can undercut you. And so I don't really, if somebody wants to go play a 4-hour show for $150, let them go do it. I don't care. Like, that doesn't affect me.
I agree. I used to get mad about it, and these days I
used to as well.
I'm like, you know what? Then that gig wasn't for me.
But what's really funny is when you got these musicians that bitch about this, and then they open a venue. I've seen this happen multiple times.
And then all of a sudden their thoughts change.
Then they hit you up and be like, hey man, you want to come play on this
for $150
for $200 for 4 hours? And you're like, no. Like, I'll do it for $600.
Yeah.
I'll do it for $800. $200 an hour seems like fair. That sounds good to me. And they're like, no way, man. I can't. Oh, okay. So it wasn't the person undercutting that was the problem. It's the fact that it's just business. It's a hard business.
Yeah. I've seen that in construction. I've seen that everywhere. I had a painter for years that I worked with, and he was always complaining about what I was charging because he would hire me to come do and stuff too. And he was always complaining about what I was charging, all that kind of thing. He was working for another guy. So he goes out and starts his own business. And once he starts his own business, and I want to keep working with my guys. So I have this big paint project. I heat up. He comes, gives me this astronomical price. And I'm like,
yeah,
bro, well, you literally were just yelling at me on the phone 2 weeks ago about what I charge to do underpinning on a house. And You just gave me $17,000 to paint a 1,500 square foot house. Like, are you out of your mind? He's like, well, I got insurance. I was like, oh, so now you know what it likes. Like,
well, I used to feel bad. Like, I used to feel bad about things. Like for example, you play a gig and they're, I'm playing a 3-hour show. I'm making $600, right? And then I'll end up doing like another 200, 250 in tips. And I'm looking out at like the server, and she's maybe made $100 that night. She's been here for 8 hours, and I've only played for 3 hours, and I've just raked it in. And I used to feel bad about that. I used to be like, man, that's shitty. But now I'm like, wait a second, like, because I used to just factor in what I'm doing for that, but I never factored in all the work that it took to get that gig.
Yeah,
like she's
100%.
just showing up to her job. She's doing, she doesn't have thousands of hours practicing for what she's doing, and
writing,
the whole 9 yards. And so now I don't feel bad about it at all. Now I'm going to make my money. And
I used to feel bad when I first started making money on social media from videos. I was like, this is child's play. This is, and I was watching all these other guys fail at it, and they're like, how are you making all this money? How's all this happening for you? And I would like feel bad, like, man, you don't deserve this. You shouldn't be getting all this. And then it was actually Rachel that sat me down, and she goes, no, you do. Because what you're forgetting is that you spent all day yesterday writing all this, and you spent the day before that trying to figure out how to get enough money to buy a camera. And you know what I mean? You're forgetting all the time you put into that before the actual product gets
and that's what the general public doesn't know.
Yeah.
The general public has no clue.
You were talking about how long it takes to produce those videos and stuff. And when I first started, now I've gotten very streamlined at it now, and I've got a better computer now, and it's all quicker. But writing a truck astrology is a good 3 or 4 hours to sit down and write all the jokes, because I try not to repeat anything and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's 100 of those damn videos out. But then filming it is maybe 30 minutes, but some time in here getting set up to do it and everything. And then editing is another 2 hours.
Yeah.
But back then, editing took 6 hours,
right?
Because I was learning how to edit, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm just faster at not knowing what I'm doing now. But there's a lot of, by the time one of those truck astrology gets released, there's 20 something hours, wrapped up into every one of those little videos,
Right.
So now I'm like, no, I'm gonna get paid off that.
Well, that's the whole thing with the podcast, the Jeff Canada shows. People are kind of coming at me a little bit because I'm not consistent at putting them out, and they're like, I've only done one this year, and I actually recorded it. No, I did record it this year. The reason I took a little hiatus is because all the things that were going on in the relationship, and I knew that I would get on the podcast, and I knew that I would hold my tongue, and I didn't want to put one out. But now that I got this new one launching, Blame It on Me, which I hope you'll be a guest on it.
Absolutely.
It's I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it legit. But with the thing that people don't realize,
don't shoot me this time from a couch.
You're like, yeah. Oh, I'm a lot better about it.
First time I did it, show you the camera's just belly, and then like my face sitting on top of my belly.
Well, you were one of the first ones.
Yeah,
you were like episode 5 or 6. But people just don't realize, like, that 2 or 3 hour conversation that you're watching. Yeah, it took the 3 hours to do it. It took the 20 minutes to set up for it. It took the 20 minutes to tear down
all the editing.
It takes all the editing. And if that was all I was doing, that would be, if I had a team, like if I was just walking in, sitting down and doing the thing, I would do one every day. 100%. I could do one every day.
Yeah.
If I had somebody else.
I could do this every day if it didn't take all the work it takes.
100%.
Like, this will come out Sunday. I'm filming it now because I'm going to be on the road this weekend performing. And it's like the weeks I've got shows going on, doing this is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can't carry this garage with me to freaking Oklahoma or whatever,
But the problem is that I've run into is that whenever you start talking about this stuff, like people in the industry that disagree with you view it as negative, and the general public views it as you complaining.
Yeah.
And it's not.
I get stuff like that,
and it's not complaining. What we're trying to do is we're trying to just pull back the curtain a little bit so you can see what everything we have to go through. Listen, I'm not complaining about everything I do. I love what I do. Even the social media part, I love it. I love interacting with people on social media. I love commenting. I love finding new stuff. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. but it just takes a lot of work to get very little return. I mean, like I told you this morning, I've been doing these videos every morning at 9 a.m. except for Saturday and Sunday. We do them every morning, 9 a.m., putting them out religiously, and they're very good quality. Like, I had to sit down and work on them for hours to get them, and I'm doing them every day. And the one I uploaded this morning has 3 views on YouTube. Like,
so I got a lot of right after the TikTok ban the first time it happened, and then I was getting all these, these good old boys. Oh, you're gonna have to go get you a real job now. You're gonna have to get you a real job, Mr. Funny Man. You're gonna have to, you ain't just gonna make videos on the internet no more. And I was like, what are you talking, bro? I work harder at comedy than I've worked at any job in my life, bro.
100%. If you or
I can't remember the last time I just worked a 40-hour week. I don't even know what that feels like, or a 60-hour week.
If we were to take the amount of effort that we have put in our careers, if we were to put that effort into any other business, a lawn mowing company, dude, it doesn't matter. Any other business, we'd be millionaires by now.
Oh yeah,
100%. There's no doubt,
or at least doing well. Just be doing real well.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. So what's next? What's next on the agenda for Jeff? I know you're bringing the podcast back. You're bringing Blame It On Me podcast.
Yep.
But what's, as far as like I know you've got shows going on in Michigan. I know
I'm moving to Nashville.
You have decided to do that.
Yeah, well, with the plan, I bought that 20-foot travel trailer, and so when I'm here in town, I stay with my ex-wife and my kid. She was gracious.
Well, y'all are tight. Y'all co-parent.
I mean, if I'm smart, I'll work it. We'll work it out. Yeah. If I'm smart, her and I'll get back together. We'll see what happens, but if I'm smart,
but at the very least, y'all have a good, strong friendship.
We do.
And
we're great.
Co-parent well together.
And she gave me her guest bedroom where I was able to put my stuff, and so I have my 20-foot travel trailer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out spending a week a month in Nashville first,
building the rest of your connection. I know you've already got a network and connections,
and then booking shows on the road, and then 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, then basically that'll be my home base.
Slowly ease that into getting all the way
That's the plan. I got to get out of here, man. I'm really glad that I was raised down here in Southeast Texas. But it's a really hard area to live in for multiple reasons. One is my own sanity. I live in the Conroe area, which is just blown up, and you can't get anywhere. Yesterday, it took me an hour and 45 minutes to drive 10 miles.
Selling my house in Conroe was one of the best days of my life. Getting out of there.
And so just the sheer amount of people that live here now, and the traffic, and just and what I notice is, because I'm a country boy, I'm from the country, and what I notice is that people in the city, or people in these kind of congested areas, are just worse people. And it's not because they're bad people. It's just they're just pissed off. They're just, because they're having to sit around all the time, and there's so many people, and we're not meant to live on top of each other like this. Okay. We're not meant to be that way. We're meant to have some space and be able to breathe and not have to worry about your neighbor hearing you fart in the middle of the night, but you're on top of everybody, and everybody's just so disgruntled and angry and mad, and you're just, and I'm like that now, and I don't want to be like that. So that's the first reason. The second reason is, it's in Southeast Texas, and so it takes forever to get anywhere. You're at the bottom of the
People are like, why do you do so many shows in Texas? Because it's the size of a small country. Right. That's why you can make a living doing shows in Texas.
100%. But I want to play.
But I want to go to Michigan. I want to get up the East Coast.
But even like if I play a show in Amarillo, that's 8.5 hours away. If I want to play a show in Midland or wherever, it's like at first I was going to move to like the New Braunfels area, because they have a pretty good music scene there. Yeah. So I was going to do that. But Scooter Brown band, Scott Brown from the War Hippies. Scott he's talked me into it. He's become like a big brother to me, and big little brother, and he's taught me into it. But the biggest reason I got to get out of here is there's just not enough people in this area creating things.
Yeah, you don't have a good enclave. You don't have a good
you can't
artist forum.
No, you can't bounce stuff, and everybody's so driven around money around here. So it's like, hey, this Friday night we're gonna have a bonfire. We're gonna sit around. We're gonna play guitars, and the very first question the musician's gonna ask you, well, what does it pay? And you're like, no, it's about just having a good time. Like, it's just about vibing out. But if I go to Nashville, that happens every night. Or Fort Worth or New Braunfels, and so I have to get out of, in order just for me to be able to just keep building because I just want to get better and better as a songwriter, better as a performer.
But you need that community. You need that
Yeah.
community. The one thing I miss about the Whiskey Brothers was having that little think tank on Monday night, sit down with Slade and Sam and Trey and all very different personalities, but all pushing for the same goal and kind of working with each other. And then we were constantly talking throughout the week. And since it's fallen off, we don't communicate as much anymore. You know, I haven't talked to Slade. I talked to Slade about a week or two ago, you know, and it's like, and it's not anything. It's not that there's a problem being Slade. It's just I'm busy as shit, and you're disconnected. You know,
I love Slade.
I do too.
I think everything really changed in this city when the Laugh Stop closed.
Yeah,
you know, because there was a big community. There was a big comedy community. And there's still a lot of comedians.
There's a big community now, but they're a different. This is just going to sound like an old man bitching, but I came up at a different time in a different model than they did.
Yeah,
and I struggle to relate with a lot of these. Yeah, with a lot of the young comics, I like them a great deal. I think they're very funny, and I go down to the secret group and I'll do sets and I'll hang out in the green room. But I just don't. It'll never have that feeling for me again, like hanging out in the Laugh Stop green room did, or being on that stage did.
Yeah.
But I was working with a different group of, you know, that's one of the reasons I click so well with Slade, because he's from that. Yeah. And Sam Damaris is from that time period. You know, Trey's one of the new guys. We get along very well, but that community of those guys that we all went through that one business model that comedy was in at that time, we just have a different mindset. Yeah. You know, it was a different way you got trained.
What are your thoughts on, because I feel, listen, you know me, I've been a stand-up comedian fan for my whole life. Like, I mean, dude, I remember watching that first, Eddie Murphy Raw. That was his second one, right? Because Delirious was his first one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I remember watching Raw when I was like 10 or 9 or 8. I don't remember, whenever it came out. And just like, holy shit. Like, you know, so I've been and same thing with Richard Pryor. I remember my mom took me to see Hear No Evil, See No Evil with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder.
Yeah. I'm black. Does Dad know?
Yeah. I saw all of his movies. I saw all of his specials. And Carlin and all those guys. Although I was never really a Carlin fan, he just pitched too much for me. But I respect what he did. But I have never, ever, ever seen comedy as popular as it is right now. Right this moment, right now. And I don't know about the shows, but definitely online. And I know
it's
that
really saturated.
And I know that, and that's what I was going to ask you, is what your opinion is on with this whole Austin thing. What's going on in Austin?
I don't devote. So I've just started going and doing some shows in Austin. They're creating something in Austin that they had in LA. Right. And that's great. And if you want that, that's fine. It's not something I'm interested in. I would absolutely love to go play Comedy Mothership, but I'm not going to go stand in line to be on Kill Tony for a minute and have these guys crap on what I'm doing. I'm just not interested. Right. I'm past the point in my career where I'm going to invest that. I don't leave the house unless there's a check.
Right. Well, that's like me going on The Voice.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. Yeah. I just got somebody reach out to me about doing AGT, and I was like, I auditioned for it like 4 years ago, and I was really interested in it then. I'm not interested in doing it now. Nothing good comes for anybody that does it. Right. I just don't have any interest in putting myself in. I would rather put my efforts into things that I already know are working for me, and booking the live shows. And that's really picking up this year, thankfully. But I would rather put my interest in selling tickets, and I do a lot of door deals where it's all on me. Yeah. But you know what? Nobody can be mad except me if it doesn't go right, and if I don't make money on the shows or whatever. But generally, I would say 70% of the time I make money. Yeah. There's 20 to 30% of the shows that it was a loser to begin with. It was a bad environment. It was a bad setup. I didn't have time to market it properly. Yeah. I have stacked myself so hard. I'm concerned about July because I've got Punchline in Houston, which is a big night, and that's 2 shows. And then I've got 2 nights, and I've got a lot of multi-show nights that I have to market, and that's a lot of marketing for July. That's a lot of push, during the time of year where everybody's outside going to New Braunfels, doing everything they want to do, all the crazy stuff we do in the summer. So that's my only caveat now. But I don't really. I hear a lot of comics complain about Austin. I have seen a lot of bad comedy come out of Austin. Yeah, to the point where somebody's like, if I'm booking a thing and they're like, hey, we'll provide the opener. And if it's anywhere close to Austin, I'm like, who's the opener?
Yeah.
I need to know who it is because I'm not just going to let you throw me anybody out of Austin because there's a lot of crap comedy coming out of Austin.
So, like, as a fan, just because I don't know the back scene. I mean, I've had tons of stories with you and Slade and Rob and John Wessling and all those dudes. But I don't know not like I do music, right? So like me, like I can't stand The Voice. I think it's fucking stupid, right? And I don't like American Idol. I don't like any of those stuff. But like Kill Tony, I love Kill Tony. I watch every episode. Now, but that's because I'm taking it as a fan. I'm not in that industry.
If you just like if you like roast comedy, it's entertaining
and I do. I do.
There's a group of guys that have a good roast, whatever you want to call it, franchise here. It's called You Look Like. And they do shows all over the city and other cities and stuff. One of them's he's going to be my opener in Oklahoma this week.
Yeah, I like stand up, but what I like about the Kill Tony thing, my favorite part about it is that whenever there is a good comic, when it on the rare occasion that the bucket pool is a good comic, you start seeing that person do more things, and you can see them grow in front of your eyes.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That you don't have that ability.
It's basically Kill Tony. They invented as a developmental show.
100%.
It was meant to develop good comics. They were trying to,
and I think they're doing that.
Develop killer. They are developing some good ones.
Yeah.
But you're always going to have the delusionals who think, all I need is that bucket pull. If I get that bucket pull, I'm going to turn everything around.
Well, it's the same as people that think you get one viral video, you're going to be famous.
Yeah.
It's not the way it works.
Yeah, I've had so many viral videos.
Me too. Me too. And still 99% of the world does not know my name.
Yeah, 100. We'll be out here. Let's, do you got any music play for us today?
Yeah, I mean, I brought my guitar.
Man, I'll have you play us out after wrap it up. I'm going to do some testimonials real quick. Is where I read some comments from last week's
Knock it out
podcast.
I'll get this thing ready.
And you can set your guitar, as Marzi calls it, you get fiddle.
How do these mics pick that up?
It should be okay. We'll see. It may sound terrible, and I'll cut it out. Try not to trip over any of my crap over there.
Oh, you're good.
You're only my third guest I've ever had on here. Really, my second guest, because really it's just been my buddy David has been an in-house guest.
I saw one the other day. You had somebody.
Blonde-headed dude.
One of your old friends.
Yeah, that's my buddy David. Oh, David Dog. At Jake of all trades, master of fun. I worked with an old man they call Bullet Bob. I asked him why. He started telling me because he was faster than a bullet, and before he could finish, another old timer screamed, "No, they call you Bullet Bob because we'd rather take a bullet than work with you." Oh, this Bobby, you talked about them nicknames last week at work. Blue collar nicknames at work are some of the meanest things you will ever hear in your life. We had, I think I've told y'all stories about the guy we had worked with us for a long time that stuttered really bad, and everybody called him Clutch. And then Clutch lost his license for a while. His dad had to drive him to work, and we used to call his dad Papa Clutch. And I still feel bad about calling him Clutch, but he liked it. You just got to do it. Old Bullet Bob, I like that. At Spencer White 8704. My dad taught me many things. His favorite was there will always be more asses than there are horses. And 3 rules to the vehicles. Never buy an automatic mini truck. I stand by that. That's a good one. Outboard boats only. That's another good one. I had one inboard outboard boat, and I may never own another boat again because of that damn boat. The damn 4 winds. 3, the loosest nut on a vehicle is the one behind the wheel. My papa used to say that too. My number one rule of cars, and I always tell these are actually my 2 rules for life, period. Don't take a stripper to breakfast, and don't buy a car in the dark. Those are my number one rules. I live by them, and every time I've gone against them, my life has gone badly. So at Beach Dreaming 3681, JW funny Ford Taurus story. When I lived in Houston, my girlfriend lived 3 hours away. She borrowed her mom's 98 Taurus see me graduate from college. We stayed the night in Houston at a fancy Motel 6. What the hell is a fancy Motel 6? Some of H-Town's finest busted out the back window and stole my cap, gown, and diploma. That was the longest 3-hour drive back to her house ever. Did I mention her dad was a Baptist preacher? Lord have mercy, it was a day to remember. I often wonder if that man and his blonde-haired, blue-eyed daughter still thinking that the way I do 25 years later. Yeah, bro, I've had some of those, man. I've had to answer to some fathers in my day, and never goes the way you think it's going to go. It always goes poorly. I feel bad. That's horrible, though, having to have that 3-hour drive back, knowing like at the end of this drive, there's no pot of gold.
No.
There's a hope last night. Hope that night in the fancy Hotel 6 was fun, though. Because hope you got some good memories out of that to sugarcoat that little trip back in time. I got a little surprise for you guys today, and then we're gonna have Jeff play some music. Once again, I always tell you guys, thank you for sharing your Sunday with me. I'm rooting for you. I really am, 100%. We gripe about this industry, but neither one of us, I think, would ever do anything else. Even times we've thought about it, we usually talk ourselves.
Oh, I want to quit every day.
Yeah. So don't take it as complaining. Yeah. It's just us, sharing a common bond, understand the way things are. And I think if you really think about it, you could probably put some of that stuff in context with your job and with everything that's going on in your life and things you're shooting for. But I'm rooting for you. There's room at the table for everyone. I truly believe that. I got this package from Greg Barnett in Indiana. Greg Barnett sent me a wonderful email. I'm not going to read the whole email. It's a very personal, very touching email about his feelings about the Wrecking Yard podcast. And I really appreciated it. And then I got this at my P.O. Box. And if you would like to send the Wrecking Yard podcast anything, it's P.O. Box 131653. It's Houston, Texas, 77219. Or you can send us an email at jwlcomedy@gmail.com. But Greg Barnett sent us this. And my freedom knife. Let's see what Greg has sent us. Oh, good. We'll set that right there for now. It's full of something heavy and rattly. Hey, JW, I wanted to touch base with you to let you know I thoroughly enjoy your podcast. You're a master storyteller. I can relate on so many levels. I did leave you a longer email at one time, but I did want to comment about your working in the bike shop. I never worked at one, but I sure remember hanging out at the Schwinn shop growing up in Madison, Indiana, and making a wish list. Of course, this was way back when Schwinn was still a U.S. company and fairly high end. Anyways, I wanted to send some die-cast cars to you. Oh, hell yeah. I'm a car guy as well. Was an auto mechanic for 27 plus years. Now just manage mechanics. I collect these as well and bought some over the last several weeks to send to you. I will gather up some more to send to Riley Hospital in Indianapolis as well. You and your family take care. Keep up the great work. Hope to catch you live sometime. Sincerely, Greg Barnett. Man, Greg, that's really cool. So some of you have been paying attention. I'm involved with this charity called drivendreams.org with the guys from the Diecast Breakdown podcast I was a guest on a while back. And what we're trying to do is raise diecast cars. They got to be new in the package. I've started collecting them as I go to the grocery store, and my wife goes to the grocery store. And then we're going to have a day of giving in October where we go donate them to the food banks and stuff. Just try to put some toys in the hands of kids. And I just think it's wonderful because I think a diecast car is one of the best toys you could ever have because you just need one and some imagination. And if you got two, you're winning, And I just thought it was a really cool thing to do, and it fit my brand and things that I'm already trying to do. And Greg has sent us, holy cow.
Oh, man.
A box full of cars to donate on our day of giving for the drivendreams.org charity.
Check out that taxi.
Which this is so exciting, man. Look at this. Holy cow, Greg. You really went above and beyond. This is a beautiful if nothing else ever comes out of my podcast but something good like this, then this is enough for me. Thank you so much, Greg. This is wonderful.
It's awesome.
These are great. Oh, there's a Mazda repo, bro. A Mazda repo. This is cool, man. Heck yeah. These are going to make a lot of kids smile, and I'll have to get them set up here so we can display them and inventory them all. But that's really exciting. You don't have to send them to me. If you want to send them to me, that's fine. We're going to do a big deal and video, and talk about all the people that donated and stuff like that when we go give them away. But you can just, we're going to put out a list of some places that we're working with to give stuff away, food banks and charities and stuff like that. We're leaning towards United Way right now. And man, you guys can just do this on your own. Or if you can't be a part of it, we still appreciate you listening and enjoying any aspect of it. But this is really, I'm a little lost for words, Greg. This is pretty 67 Chevy C10. This is it's a very magnanimous gesture. Thank you. It's very touching. This is really cool, man. I'm really excited about this. This is going to be really neat. Thank you, man. That's really cool. Like I said, you know how to send us stuff. If you want to send us stuff, or if you just want to write us a letter and tell how mad at you are about something, you can do that too. I get one of those every once in a while. Somebody, I had a dude write me I made fun of a Hyundai Santa Cruz, and the guy's brother had just bought one, and this dude just wrote me this like 5-page email about what a first class son of a bitch I was for making fun of a Hyundai Santa Cruz. And I answered him. I was not mean to him or whatever. I just kind of replied back to him. It's like, okay, bro, but these are just jokes. And,
Yeah.
And then he wrote me a 3-page email apologizing to me about it. And I was like, we don't need to do all this,
Manic much? That's funny. I just recently went viral on a podcast talking crap about George Strait not being the king of country.
I remember that. I was watching all that.
Man, the hate that came to me on that thing is just insane.
Freaking
Good times.
But I don't even understand why everybody was so upset about that. It's not like he is.
I don't care.
You know what I mean? I mean, he's not even that much of a songwriter.
But he's got 61 number one hits, Jerry Wayne.
Yeah, but how many did he write?
One.
Yeah, like, let's talk about Merle Haggard.
Yeah.
That's king music.
Right.
Waylon Jennings. Like,
or if you really want to talk about country music, why don't we talk about Roger Miller or Blaze Foley?
Yeah, or Shel Silver. Oh, I can't say his name. Shel Silverstein, Jimmy Rogers, for Pete's sakes.
Yes.
Or yeah. I don't understand why people got it. I saw that when it was unfolded, and I was like, ride that wave and enjoy that because these people are stupid.
Yeah. Hank Sr.
I love George. I don't dislike
Me too.
George, but he is not the king.
Well, what's really funny is if you actually go,
he's not even the king of Texas music.
Right.
You're not Bob Wills.
Right. Right.
You're no Towns Van Zandt.
Yeah.
You're no Willie.
No Guy Clark.
Yeah. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah. Well, not only that, the thing is,
I bet George thought it was funny.
Well,
if he saw it.
Here's the thing: if you're not in the industry and you're a fan and you don't know the way the industry works, you think all that stuff's real. But the thing is, man, that those 61 number ones, if they would have put that amount of effort and money into anyone else, that same thing would have happened. If it would have been Keith Whitley or whatever, go down the list, the same thing would have happened to that person. It wasn't because George is special. Yeah. That's my thing. 100%. Is he great? Absolutely, he's great. Great.
Yeah. He's a fantastic performer and showman.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I've fall asleep at the shows, but but he definitely has that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was in one of my favorite movies of all time. So.
Which one?
Pure Country, bro.
Really?
That cheesy ass, terrible acting movie.
That is one of my wife's favorite movies.
I love that movie.
I like the one that plays the old grandma in it. The grandma, whatever, the aunt or
Grandma
whatever.
Ivy.
Grandma Ivy. I like her.
I get stoned and watch it a few times a year.
I have a couple of guilty pleasures like that. Sling Blade is mine. I've watched Sling Blade.
I don't think that's a guilty pleasure.
That's one of my favorites. If I'm by
guilty pleasure would be like Parent Trap.
If some rarity I find myself in the house alone and everybody else is out doing stuff, which is rare, but it's getting to be more and more as my kids become teenagers. I'll rather, because what I used to do is lay on the couch and sit there and try to figure out what I wanted to watch. And then by the time they got back, I'd have something picked. Maybe. Yeah. Now, I just put on Sling Blade or Smokey and the Bandit. Mm-hmm. Something that's a guilty pleasure because that's a terrible movie. But
that is not a terrible movie.
It's a terrible written movie.
To me, guilty pleasure is like that movie, Bring It On, that cheerleader movie. I bet I've seen that movie fucking 200 times.
Well, there was one called Pitch Perfect. I've watched a bunch.
That's
My
another
kids
one.
like that one too.
Any
What's
of
your
those?
guilty music pleasure? Like you're alone in the
Oh,
truck.
no
Nobody's
doubt.
going to make fun of you.
No doubt about it. It's like hair metal stuff.
Really?
Yeah, no doubt. It's Poison and Def Leppard and Bon Jovi and
Mine right
Cinderella and Rat and.
Mine's probably because of my kid, but right now, every time I get in the car, it's Lola Young.
I don't know who that is.
Lola Young. She has that song "Messy" that blew up and got really big. It was all over TikTok stuff. She was doing late night. She's a British singer, but she has a song called "Messy" and a song called "Conceited." The album's called. This album probably wasn't for you anyways, or something like that. I just like her style. She's just
cool.
Kind of like a grungy. I like UK music anyways. But I'm not gonna pull up to the fucking secret group jamming it with the windows down. But
well, that's the thing about music and comedy both is they're just so with comedy there's so many different types of comedy.
It's so subjective.
There's some people that love improv. There's some people that love roast comedy. There's some people that love clean comedy. There's some people that love really dirty comedy. There's some people that love the gangster comedy. There's some people that love my all-time favorite, hands down, that's not even close. Like if there's a Mount Rushmore, he's above Mount Rushmore is Louis C.K. He's my favorite, hands down. Is he one of the greats? Probably not. But for me, he's the funniest person I've ever seen in my life.
I think he's one of the great writers. I'm not as big a fan of him as you are, but I do think he's one. I respect the work he's put into.
I love him. But my point is, it's so subjective. Same thing with music.
But people love to hate Ralphie May, and Ralphie May, part of it was working with him and being a part of his little entourage for a little bit. But I don't think I will ever see anybody as funny as Ralphie May ever again in my life.
Yeah.
Like there was nobody else that could make me laugh like that.
I've never met him, but I posted on Facebook the other night. I really miss Ralphie May because I went on just this Ralphie May.
He was just so unstoppable, bro. Yeah. We'd go to these shows and he would tell people, he's like, I figure most of you bought a ticket, most of you make $10 an hour in tickets for $20 a piece. So I'm gonna give you a 2-hour show so you at least get your money's worth out of me. And he would just go out there and beat the piss out of these crowds for 2 hours. And I have times where I'm on stage for 45 minutes, like, Jesus, is this show over yet? I'm ready for this show to be over. What do you got coming up? What's your show's coming up?
Well, really, the big one is going to be January 18th at Do-Si Do in Spring or Woodlands.
And that's a beautiful.
That's my
venue.
birthday show.
If you're in the Houston area, he does that show every year. It's a big turnout. It's a
birthday show. I have me and multiple songwriters on there.
Are you working on new album right now? What are you?
So the thing is, the album got scratched because just the way the consumption of music is these days. I did a live album last year and I put it out, and not a single song on that live album got over 500 spins on any platform. And so I took the live album down. I'm gonna get some vinyls made to sell at shows. That'll be the only way you can get the live album. And then I'm gonna release 8 of the songs off live albums, re-release them, one starting tonight at midnight. So it'll be there when this airs. Wasted Thing live is coming out tonight. So I'm releasing those songs as live singles. So every 8 weeks starting tonight or tomorrow, there's going to be a live single coming out that we're on that album.
I know where to find you because I watch your shit all the time. Yeah. But tell them the best places to go listen to your music.
JeffCanada.com. JeffCanada.com is where everything's at. I'm currently rebuilding it right now. Jeff Canada Music on all platforms. That's where to find me. That's it.
Definitely check out. Just go listen to Monsters off Wishing Well because it's one of my favorites. It's one of the most relatable songs I've ever heard in my life, and it's definitely up there in my top 10 of country music songs that I really enjoy. It's on every playlist I got, so it's one of those. I have to be careful. So me and Rachel have decided my red flag is when I'm drinking, if I start asking Siri to play Jeff Canada or Bob Seger, we're headed down a dark path. Exactly. Jerry's about to get sad.
Yeah.
If I start requesting Jeff Canada or Bob Seger, the night's about to take a turn.
Yeah. Well, I got some new stuff coming out that's a little bit more upbeat.
Happy.
That song. The song High Horse is coming out May 30th.
I did like that. You sent me that track. I like the shit.
I just wrote a new song called Eatin' Crow. and the whole thing is just about my mouth. It's just about how I can't keep my
gums.
mouth. Bumping gums. Bumping gums is in the chorus.
Hell yeah! What are you gonna play for us today?
I'm gonna do Rain. So
Okay,
Rain
cool,
is a
man.
song.
I haven't heard this. This is the one.
So Rain, I wrote this song up in Fort Worth with my buddy Chris Cunningham. I don't do a lot of co-writes, but Chris is a person I've grown to really trust in my writing process. And so him and I went up there. We wrote this song about 3 or 4 weeks after I broke up with my last relationship, 3.5 year relationship, and this is like it's like a performance review of her. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Candace's Carfax report.
Yeah, it's like if I was going to,
leave her a Yelp review.
Yeah, if there was an app that rates girlfriends or ex-girlfriends, this would be it. It's called Rain. So it's sad, but I don't know how sad it is. It goes like, let me tune this guitar first, because if not, that's gonna be bad news. And then all your fans are gonna be like, dude, that guy can't even tune his guitar. And then I'm gonna have to defend that, because hopefully I get some, after this airs, I'm gonna download and get some clips off of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I cut you some stuff up too.
Oh, this thing was way. I almost played a song without tuning my guitar. I don't think that's ever happened in the whole history of the Jeff Canada enterprise. Okay, anyway, this song called Rain. It's my first gig.
First day of mine.
All right, here we go. I just released a video of me doing this on YouTube. You can check it out. She puts on her makeup, draws on a fake smile. She even believes she's happy for a little while. But inside she's busted, she's broken and bruised. And she's worn holes in the sole of her heart's walking shoe. She's boarding up all the windows, he's buried his head in the sand. She's worried about what's to become, he don't really give a damn. She sits there waiting on pain. He's standing in the sunshine, she waits for the rain. He texts her good morning while he's still in his bed. He wants her to know she's the first thing that pops in his head. He tried to be loving, patient and kind, but he can't compete with the chaos bouncing in her mind. She's boarding up all the windows, he's buried his head in the sand. She's worried about what's to become, he don't really give a damn. She sits there waiting on pain. He's standing in the sunshine, she waits for the rain. Yeah. She's boarding up all the windows, he's buried his head in the sand. She's worried about what's to become, he don't really give a damn. She sits there waiting on pain. He's standing in the sunshine, she waits for the rain. She waits for the rain. The song's called Rain.
Hell yeah,
and I'll get it in the studio soon.
I have heard it. You did. You must have sent me that thing. I remembered it after it was one of those nights on the porch. I was probably edible or two in when I heard it, whatever. But I like the shit out of that, man. I mean this 100%. You and Paul Cawthon are my two favorite voices in Texas.
That's awesome, dude.
Y'all are very different voices, but y'all are my two
Paul's
favorite
a
voices.
maniac, dude.
That dude is always about to play a show again
maniac.
after all the, came off. They had to cancel his tour and everything, and he's doing some show up close to Abilene. But I'm busy doing comedy, so it's like Jeff invites me to so many shows, and it's always I've got a gig, and we work the same hours.
I got offered to open up for Paul at I think it was Greek Brothers in El Campo, but when they called me that same day, I had a show booked opening for Cody Canada, and I was like, I'm not like
Who's
I would
Cody
much
Canada?
Cody Canada from Crossing the Ragweed.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of those things where it's like
that's everybody. Every time I tell somebody about you that doesn't know music
very
well, they go, "Oh, he's a guy from Cross Canadian Ragweed." I'm like, "No, he's not."
Yeah,
but he's not Canadian either.
Yeah, neither is Cody. So Cody and I talked about it. I opened up for him multiple times, but again, I don't know, a few months ago, and we talked a lot about it. We're probably kin because we have a lot of family in like the Arkansas.
Then definitely
Kentucky area, Arkansas, that whole area up there, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, that whole area up there, and I'm sure we're kin somewhere down the line. We talked about it a little bit. He's cool. I got his number on my phone, which is pretty awesome.
I got a couple people's number. One I like to brag about is I have the lead designer for Hot Wheels, Brian Benedict.
Oh, sweet! That's
the
cool.
lead designer for Hot Wheels. We text each other on holidays and stuff, and I'm like, I'm going to do the Hot Wheels thing again.
Yeah, that's the crazy part for me is like having to pinch myself because it's like, dude. I mean, I'm doing song swaps with the bass player from Three Doors Down, and I'm opening and not just opening, but like I got. Like Adam Hood, man, I got his number in my phone. I got Cody Canada's number in my phone. It's like some of these people that I'm in contact with now are. It's just Wade Bowen.
It blows your mind.
It is.
I love
it's
Wade
like
Bowen.
It's just one of those things where, like, I opened up for Wade like 3 times, never even talked to him, and then his fraternity brother throws a party every year, and he just plays an acoustic set there, and I opened up for Wade at that thing.
Rachel went to Texas Tech. And so she was a huge Wade Bowen. He used to play a lot of shows out there.
That's where
him and Aaron Watson.
Aaron
Watson played a lot of shows. So she loved it. I didn't know anything about them. She, before I met you on the 24-hour podcast, I remember I was sending her pictures, and I go, look at this big son of a bitch. Because when he walked in the door at 24-hour podcast, I was like, man, I need to go get my pistol. I'm going to be around this big son of a bitch.
Oh, was that the day we first met?
Yeah, and I sent Rachel a picture. She goes, oh my God, it's Jeff Canada. And I was like, how the hell do you know?
Oh, that's funny.
I was like, him and Slade go way back. And she goes, yeah, he plays shows everywhere. He's awesome. But I was like, okay. And then BC, come on, which is funny as shit. BC ended up doing the music too. BC's my kid's music teacher now. I'm about to take my kid down to music lessons. And Brian Carrion was with this band called Strippers Live that me and my brother, I don't know how many times we saw them live, but more than I can remember or count, and probably was inebriated for a good deal of it. But we used to watch this guy everywhere. And I took a picture of, it was you two standing next to each other. She goes, is that BC? And I was like, who the hell is BC? She goes, from Strippers Live. But he also had a band called The Crisis and all this stuff. And, a year later, he did the music for my comedy special, all the original music for it. And it's absolutely amazing. I mean, I literally told him, I go, I want Traveling Salvation Show meets Sound and Fury.
Yeah, I was wondering who did that for you.
Meets Just Breathe, awesome. From Sound and Fury. And he put that together. And he put that gospel, that organ in him and Slade cooked it up. And it's I love it. It feels like in the heat of the night when it starts playing.
It's awesome.
It just has that good swampy sound. Fitz Houston.
BC was like my first big brother in the music industry. He's younger than me, but like, I'm one of those guys when there's something I want to do, I'm like a sponge. And so I find the people that are really
that are making money, that are doing
really good at it, or that offer something. And
he's a fantastic showman.
Dude, BC to this day, and I've played with some. BC is as big of the total package of any entertainer I've ever seen in my life.
I agree with that. 100%.
Like his attitude, his delivery, his musicianship, I mean, his work ethic, everything. He is he is hands down like the total package to me. The fact that that guy is not a household name, um, I mean, it's his fault that he's not a household name, but you know what I mean. It's just
Yeah.
he should be.
I love what he's doing with this music school
Me
because
too.
he's not just teaching these kids music. It's best lesson ever. Best lesson ever.
Yeah.
Friendswood. And he'll have a franchise before it's all over with. It's going to be huge.
Yep.
It's he's not just teaching these kids music. He's teaching them the music industry and how to deal with gigs and stuff. And enough that my kid, who was very shy and bashful, started going there 2 years ago, and Junie's absolutely killing it now. We take Junie to other spots around the city, open mics and stuff, and Judy blows these people away with the confidence and the ability to advocate for themselves, and that's all stuff learned from Brian and from that school down there. It has been such a godsend for kind of a shy and awkward kid to be really bust out of their shell. And this kid is, I laugh. I got mad. Judy played piano for the first time ever public after starting it 3 weeks prior. Plays a piano song and sings it live in front of people, gets a standing ovation. I'm like, that's bullshit. I worked 15 years for my first standing ovation, and this kid gets it. Picks up piano 3 weeks ago.
That's
gets
funny. I didn't get my first one till 2020.
I got my first one in 2019. Is a place called Camp Hope, and it's a halfway house for veterans and especially those with like addiction issues and stuff like that. And it surprised me. I didn't know what was happening. It surprised me so bad because I wasn't even the last comic on the show. I felt really bad for the comic that had to go after me, except she's real petty, and so I kind of enjoyed it watching her walk up the stage because literally I nailed that last joke, and then they all just started standing up and clapping. I was like, "What the hell is happening?" And it was such a remarkable. I've had 4 of them now, and every time has been special and remarkable and earned.
My first ticket event, first standing ovation, first sold out show was all on the same night, and that was in November of 2020. Slade was there. It was for my release party at Wishing Well, and it was just
that album deserves all the standing.
Sold 450 tickets to those.
That's got peaks and valleys on it too.
Yeah.
And Needle and Thread.
Needle and Thread.
Look, I'm gonna warn you. I'm gonna give you a trigger warning. If you lost your mom at any point in the last 10 years, maybe just go into that one knowing it's gonna break your soul in half. That's a
song.
It's a beautiful piece of music.
I played it the other night on a live because somebody asked me to play my saddest song, and so I played it. And looking back on it now, like as developed as a songwriter I am now, it's total shit. Like it's just it's from a songwriting perspective, it doesn't structure. It's just terrible. But at the time, that was, we were talking about that earlier. That was the song that like started my writing career.
But sometimes for me, music is about the emotion, and it's not about the structure, and it's not about. There's been a lot of songs that had a lot of feeling that aren't necessarily structured all that way. What is I keep on?
I mean, a lot of Keep the Wolves Away.
Yeah,
that's one. No chorus.
I was thinking of a Beatles song, The Pony. Can't remember the name of it. It's is it Dig a Pony? Dig a Pony. It's terrible song structure, but the feeling and the heart behind it gets me every time. Gets me wrapped up into it. And I'm not even the biggest Beatles fan. I'm married to the biggest Beatles fan.
Well, I'm really glad. I'm glad I went to that like Wishing Well. Every song that was written on that record, with the exception of Too Far Gone, I wrote 100% by myself. There was no co-writes on it.
Too Far Gone is a great song.
Too Far Gone was written by me and Daniel Holmes. I'm proud that I went through that process in my writing process because there was no rules because I wasn't doing co-writes. I wasn't, I didn't, because honestly, this is what happened. 2020 happened and I was going to retire from music. Right. And so I wanted to do one album and then I was going to put that album out. I wanted to have one party for my friends and then I was going to ride off in the sunset and I was going to be done. I was going to be finished. But that album came out and it had such an impact. And then that sold out show happened. Like so many people came. And then I started getting these offers to open up for all these other people. I was like, oh, so this is not the plan.
This is a new chapter.
But here we go.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what I'm doing
well,
now.
I'm, for one, am very glad you did it. I appreciate your music a great deal.
Thanks, buddy.
And particularly that album, a lot of songs that album meant a lot to me. And I think maybe because we were all going through COVID at the same time. And it was a lot of it touched me. Peaks and Valleys sticks with me. Monsters is my go-to, sticks with me. Too Far Gone's another one. Too Far Gone is one. I do this every once in a while where I listen to an album. I make myself these days listen to an album all the way through.
Me too.
And then not every song hits me or whatever, and I'll listen to my favorites until I tire myself of my favorites or whatever. And Too Far Gone was one that was literally like 20, 23, 24 before it was like last year. I was like sitting out here on the porch one night and I was just listening. I was listening to you on Spotify and it played that and I was like, oh yeah, I know the song. And then I was like, oh no, I don't know. This is, what the hell, man? And it was one of those like hit me late. So it's one I listen to a lot now because it's new to me. You know what I mean? Like as far as my discovery of it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. It's one of the most popular songs. That one, Back to Texas, Ride With Me, Monsters. Those are like the four. But I really think this Rain song is like on a whole nother level because it's kind of taken off on social media.
I really like it.
I've already been sent 5 or 6 videos of other artists covering that song.
That's cool.
And it's not even
that's when you know you're hitting a chord with people.
Yeah.
Does it? Jeff, I cannot thank you enough for driving out here and showing up to do this, man. I love you too.
For sure.
You guys go check out Jeff Canada. Check out his music. Go to Spotify, listen to him. Just hanging out in your shop. It's good working in the shop music. It's good driving down a dark road at night music.
It's not all sad songs.
It's not.
A little bit of everything.
There's a lot going on there. Go check it out. Thank you guys for being here. Tell you every week I'm rooting for you. We're gonna try to organize all these cars, and I will see you guys next week. Remember, I'm JW, and I love you.